You know, I bought this thing for the performance, but then when I first saw the spinner on there, I thought, wow, this looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Really makes this part of the plane, the ugly side of it, look really good.
Very cool. Yeah, the Super Petrels, of course, they've got the 5-blade with, I believe, that same size spinner on them. And then the Icons have, I believe, this exact same propeller on the Icon A5. So, you know, all the float planes need to have these E-props on the back. The performance speaks for itself. And again, final thoughts on your actual flight experience yesterday?
Oh, it was amazing. And the thing that I remember the most, you know, it's, you know, seeing the performance is great, but actually feeling the reduced vibration and just the not having that noise and bumping around in the background just gives you a little bit of sense of confidence that you've got a great running engine and things not shaking itself apart.
Nice.
Hey, Larry Mednick with E-Props and Evolution Aircraft. Today we've got something kind of special. We've got a SeaRey, a 914 SeaRey. It's a beautiful, fairly new SeaRey. And if you walk around, the first thing you'll notice is a really cool end number. I think he's got the best one. 914 like the engine, Sierra Romeo SeaRey. And if you need any custom graphics, you can get these done by Evolution as well. We offer the SeaRey graphics kit. We're in fact installing a couple of graphics on the engine cowl there, as well as the tail. And of course the two-tone end number. You can kind of see the end number we're taking off of it at the moment. But not only is this getting new graphics today, it's going to be getting a new propeller. So what we've got here is a warp drive taper cut. And it's been working pretty good for him. He has this set to 5,800 RPM on climb out. So he's obviously trying to get all the climb, all the power to get out of the water. However, his max cruise speed as he throttles back to 5,500 RPM is right at 95 miles per hour. So he's opted for as much climb as he can get, and he's sacrificed his cruise. And today we're going to try to do a few things. One is we're going to try to keep the climb and improve the cruise speed. We're going to see what that comes out to be. We're going to quiet this thing down a little bit, and probably most importantly, we're going to smooth out the startup. We're going to smooth out the shutdown. You're going to see what I mean when you see the actual startup and shutdown, and the in-flight experience is going to be phenomenally different. Now, one of the things we're going to be doing is going from a 68-inch propeller, where we've got a little bit of clearance here, to a 69 and some change. It's a metric size, but closer to a 69-inch propeller. And we're going to be going to a 4-blade. And we're going to do that with our E-Props 4-blade. We're also going to be removing quite a bit of weight from the propeller itself. And it's pretty common knowledge that these 914 SeaReys are already a little bit aft CG. That's kind of an issue. And so getting rid of several pounds in the propeller, we'll get that weight difference for you in just a moment. Getting rid of some of that extra weight is going to be very useful, I think. And we're also going to space this propeller back just a little bit. And we're going to try to get a little bit cleaner air, a little bit more efficiency. And again, the reason you may not want to take a warp drive and move it back is the spool spacer is going to be very heavy. And then you're moving that heavy propeller further aft. And so we're going to be able to do these things, go bigger with more blades further back to get all this efficiency and increase the forward CG on this aircraft today. All right, so we're going to start by removing this propeller. Use our 3/16 Allen wrench and remove this little spinner cone. And one of the things we'll be doing today is installing a nice large carbon fiber spinner. It's mostly for style points, but I think you'll agree it looks really nice. And now we've got the safety wire on these bolts here. I hate safety wire, let's just say it. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt to do retorques. It's a pain in the butt to put on initially in the first place. It's a pain in the butt to remove. So we're going to go ahead and work all the safety wire off, but one of the reasons I'm mentioning this is we are going to wind up removing all of the safety wire. We don't have safety wire with the new propeller that we're installing, and that makes me very happy. And now with all that fun safety wire removed, we'll take our 1/2-inch wrench, and I might even need a bigger wrench than this to break this loose. Let's see. Nope, there she is. And this does have the threaded drive lugs on the back side, so that's why I don't have a wrench on the other side. And I'll show you how we remove those, because we won't be reusing the drive lugs from this. The E-Prop's propeller has the drive lugs built right into the hub, and there are carbon fiber like pretty much every other part on this propeller. Just holding the back of the flange so the prop doesn't fall off as I remove the last bolt. And then this is 2 pieces, so I'm going to carefully remove this. And now I'm going to very carefully remove the propeller. And that has got some weight. We'll put up the actual weight of this propeller, but they're around 10 pounds. They're not light. That is one thing for sure. All right, so what I have in my hand here is a very simple tool. This is a drive lug puller. These are available from E-Props. Just let us know if you do have drive lugs, pressed threaded drive lugs. The other option is you can have drive lugs that just basically push in by hand, and you'd have a nylock nut on the backside. That would have eliminated actually all of that safety wire as well if we just would have had nylocks on the backside. But to get these out, it's been my impression you could take a sledgehammer to these and they don't move, and of course you wouldn't want to beat on your gearbox. And so this little device here, the way this works is we're going to take these nuts off like so, and these are going to go through 2 of the 6 holes, and we're going to line this up above the drive lug that we're going to remove. Start by inserting the bolt into this threaded drive lug, and then if you'll notice, I've got some red grease on the back side. Obviously this used to be flat. This is from using it over the years. There's a lot of friction that's going to be happening, and we're going to simply place it over that drive lug, so you'll see these other 2 holes in the drive flange line up. And now just by hand I'm going to go ahead and put the nut on, just finger tight, that's all it needs to be, and then go ahead and get this nut started here, finger tight again. And then with the impact driver in reverse, so we're actually unthreading this. We're just going to go ahead and squeeze the trigger, and here she goes. Just like that. All right, so I've unboxed our brand new E-Props, our 4-blade for this SeaRey, and just kind of unpack it here with you. Inside of the hub is our digital protractor. And if you take a look at these nipples here, this is what replaces those drive lugs. So that is machined carbon fiber. And that's what's going to turn this propeller. And we have the nylocks on the backside, so we're not going to be bothered with the pesky safety wire. So all we're going to do is torque these down, and that's going to install the propeller on and off, nice and easy. If you'll notice, there is also a spool spacer extension. These are available in all different lengths, so you can get them this long. Rotax only recommends up to a 4-inch spool spacer. With this light of a propeller, you can literally go way longer without hurting the gearbox because they're just so light. One of the other things you're going to notice is you got these different colored dots on here, and these propellers are dynamically balanced from the factory. You do not need to hire somebody to come out and do a dynamic balance on this propeller once it's installed, so long as you put the blue blade with the blue hub and all that. In fact, let's just take a look at this spinner, and you're going to see that we've got a weight inside of our spinner. And that's one of the best ways to be able to balance this propeller. You'll notice that we also have a silver dot on this, and that silver dot is going to line up with our silver dot here. The red dot here lines up with the red blade here. And so all of this has to be oriented back exactly the way it was balanced for obvious reasons. So everything's color coded, pretty hard to screw up. Just make sure you match the blades. Now the blades come packed just like this, and the warp drive uses a nickel leading edge, which is an excellent material for water protection with the spray that's going to hit these props. Remember, these blades are going like 400 or 500 miles an hour, so it's like a pressure washer going to the prop when you're taking off, especially at full throttle, and you get some spray into the propeller, you've got to have a metal leading edge, and we do. So these are not nickel, these are titanium leading edges. And one of the nice things about this propeller is it's not painted. So a painted propeller, you're gonna have water damage where possibly the leading edge meets the paint. This is gonna be completely impervious to water. They hold up really, really well in high. You can run them in the rain at full throttle. I never throttle mine back. That may not be the recommended procedure. Just haven't had any pitting, nothing on these props. They are very, very durable. And the thing about this blade is it just doesn't have any moment of inertia. It almost feels like it's made out of dense styrofoam as far as the weight goes. It's just extremely light. These blades are hollow on the back side and they're solid carbon on the front side. So you've got the impact resistance of a solid carbon fiber blade, but you've got the overall hybrid design with the hollow structure behind it, and that makes them just so light. Obviously it's a smaller blade with a completely different blade profile. A lot of under camber, and if you haven't been paying attention to what E-Props has been doing, they've been breaking world records both on the stole side as well as the high speed. They currently hold the fastest fixed pitch propeller record in the world. So they are just dominating on both ends with these incredible blade designs. So you're not just getting a very light propeller, you're getting something that has a lot of technology in the blade. This is not just a basic blade. A lot goes into the different profiles which keep changing throughout the blade. So pretty amazing results that we generally get when we put this on almost any aircraft. All right, so I've got the blades all lined up here. You got your yellow, blue, red, and green. Yellow, blue, red, and green. So no question about where these blades are gonna go. Now what's really cool is there's a lot of bolts here, but what makes it easy is most of these bolts I don't have to get to the back side of with a wrench, except for these outside 8 bolts. So we're just gonna have to hold those, but these do not need to be supported. They have captures on the nuts on the back sides, so you don't have to do anything other than go into them. These are all nylocks. This whole propeller assembly is done with nylocks, including the main drive lug area. This is a nylock bolt, so no safety wire again. Don't use Loctite. Don't use Loctite on the spinner. This is all designed to go together nice and easy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my impact wrench to zap this apart as quickly as I can. So we're just gonna go. You can get a bird's eye view again of this construction, and you'll see yet another lead weight inside of the hub. So we've got a lead weight in the hub as well as one in the spinner itself. All right, so now she's apart. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to orient this correctly. And you'll notice that this actually fits into this groove as well. So it's not just the bolts that are actually taking care of the rotational force. This design does not need the bolts to turn it. That's just extra. We are gonna look at this piece to figure out which goes where. So if that's our red, we know that our green goes over here, and then our red goes here. And if you're doing this alone, I'd recommend getting this down into the grass. Most people don't have a big enough table to take all 4 blades, and you don't want blades going everywhere. But since I do have somebody to help me here, my dad, Dad, if you'll hold on to this blue blade and go ahead and set that in for me. And I will go ahead and now place the cover over the top. As soon as I press this together, I can now, just with 1, 2, now we're secure. All right, so now with all of the inside bolts tightened, again, nothing crazy, not torquing anything down. I'm gonna start by hand these 8 outside bolts. Just going to get them all started, put the nut on the back side. These are the only ones you have to get a wrench to the back side on. The others are ready to be torqued once we set the blade angles. Okay, so with that said, we've got our propeller here. I just want to show you how light this thing is. But we're going to go to an actual scale. We're going to take all of our components, including our full-size spinner, and we're going to weigh these two propellers. So first off, I'm going to get on the scale, and we'll get my baseline here. So 168.5. Okay, and the drive lugs. I don't know that the drive lugs land anything.
We're at 179 right now.
With our new prop, we're adding a full-size spinner. We're adding a 2-inch spool extension. We're going a full diameter larger, and of course that extra blade. Let's see where we're at. $175.
4 pounds later.
4 pounds lighter.
Wow.
With an extra blade. Pretty hard to believe, but that is what you can expect. And not only is this prop lighter, it's all of its mass that it does have is pretty much in the center. Out here is very, very light. And so the moment of inertia isn't just, 60%. The moment of inertia is far, far less than that. And you're going to hear that when we start this engine, we idle this engine, we run this engine, you're going to feel that. And it's just an amazing experience if you've never felt an E-Props before. I remember my first experience with it was over a decade ago. We've been using them on every Evolution Trikes product, the Revo, the Revolt, the Rev, and we won't switch away from it. It's just too good. All right, so now all I have to do to install this propeller is we're going to put it on, and we're going to put our nylock nut on the back side. And these little nipples here are the drive lugs. That's as big as they need to be. And that all has a lot to do with this propeller having such a low moment of inertia. So not a lot needs to power this propeller because it's easy to spool up. Oh yeah, and it's going to spool up in a fraction of the time when he does advance to full throttle. That's going to be another benefit of the low weight propeller. So we're just lining it up. And I'll use a nut towards the top, which will help it hang easier so I can get my hands free in just a second. And then very easily, I've got that first nut on. And I'll go ahead and place all 6 nuts on by hand. And then I'm going to come back with a torque wrench, and we're going to go ahead and torque these nuts down. I'll go ahead and use a 13mm ratchet wrench. That's a really nice, easy, quick way to get in behind the propeller here. And I'm going to pull it snug, not too hard. I'm just going to snug them all down now. I'll keep the prop coming around. And because I'm not going too tight, I don't need to do a star pattern yet. When I torque it, I will do the star pattern. But as of right now, just getting it snug. So now that I've got all 6 of the nuts seated down, they're not tight or anything like that, we're going to torque this and we're going to do it in a star pattern. So if I start at my 6 o'clock, I'm going to just bring this around until you hear the click. Go to 12 o'clock, bring it around until we hear the click. Just and so on. So what I'm doing is I'm removing all these spinner screws that come pre-installed at the factory. And we're going to get those out of here as we start turning the prop over and over again. We don't want them falling on the ground. And our first test that we'll do with the engine will be spinner off. We may need to make some adjustments on the propeller. We can test fly this with the spinner off. The spinner itself is balanced. The hub is balanced to the prop, so you can go either way without losing your weights. Everything is perfectly balanced. Now we've got the hub basically pretty snug to the point that I cannot turn a blade by hand, but if I use the mallet, I can get it to move. If it's too loose, that's great, and it'll be easy to adjust, but then as you tighten it, it's just gonna move anyway. And so basically you don't want it so tight that you have to really crank on it either, but it needs to tap into place. Tight, but not too tight. And once you get the pitch set, we'll torque it, and hopefully the pitch is going to stay. We need to make sure that all four blades are going to be within 0.3 degrees of one another. So if any one of them are out further than that, we're going to have to start all over again. So what we need to do now is we're going to need to, obviously the aircraft's on an angle. We don't need to level the aircraft or anything like that. But what we do need to do is we need to zero out this protractor so we have an actual baseline of what the pitch actually is. Now, because we're going to be hanging this protractor in this orientation, it's very important that you don't center it and zero it this way and then turn it 180 degrees. So we're going to be able to zero this out. We've got plenty of space on the back of this spinner here. So if you don't have a spinner, sometimes you have to use something on the engine, top of the gearbox, top of a valve cover. I'm going to just put my hand on the zero, put it up here, and again, I don't want to try to zero it out in the wrong orientation. So this is the correct orientation, and now as I put it onto this blade, I'm going to get my bubble in the center, and I'm currently at 15.6 degrees, and we're going to start off with 21 degrees on this engine, and we'll see how 21 gets us. We'll make sure we don't over rev. We want to make sure we don't lug it. So if we're looking for performance, we really are looking for about 5650 on climb out, and so that's going to be probably what we're going to target today. And we'll do some testing and playing around. You can always trade a little bit of climb for a little bit of speed and vice versa. So we'll see what the customer likes best, but we're going to start at 21 degrees. So here we go. So I am actually just loosening up all of these bolts just a little bit. I tapped on the blade and it didn't move quite as easily as I wanted it to, so I'm just backing these off. And then I'm going to see how the blade moves. So try this again. So we're currently 15.75. I'm going to see if this comes up. And hopefully I'm into the 16s now after those hits, just like that. And didn't really move too much. And if it's not moving, I'm going to loosen it up a hair more. Nope, it is moving. So 17.6. So that's about where you want it. It's taken some force, and you're not going to hurt this propeller by using a mallet like I'm using. And a rubber mallet. There's 18.8. 19.7. There's 20. 20.35. So I'm going with a little bit less impact as I'm getting closer. 20.75. 20.75. 20.85. Now we're getting close. I'm going to make sure that bubble's right in the middle. And I'm at 21.05. So we're going to go ahead and take it. Now without touching this blade again, I'm going to pull up my next blade. Now if you're doing a tractor prop, it's going to look a lot different when you're pitching the propeller than the, and we have that. You can watch our RV12 propeller install. And just the orientation, everything is really confusing. So don't use this for a tractor prop example. Find our tractor prop for pitching, just because it's just, you're working on the cowl side of the airplane propeller. It's just different. All right, so this one's 1335. So I'm just adding a little bit of pressure. It's obviously a very short wrench, so I'm not giving it a whole lot of torque. But these only get 11 Newton meters anyway. So be very careful. It's very, very easy, especially with a larger wrench, to accidentally over torque these little bolts. But it's just 11 Newton meters. Again, where I'm holding it, just getting it snug. It gives me a really good feel, and that way I don't have the big torque wrench, which is a little bit slower to swing around than this little mini wrench. And here we go. We're going to start in the center of the hub, definitely making a star pattern. And you can see it's taken quite a bit compared to where I hand torqued it previously. And you can see how much torque, how many turns it's taken before it gets to its 11 Newton meters. Okay, so off camera we just did a run up, and static we did 5350. Probably a good number. That was at 21.5 degrees roughly. And now we're going to drop that down to 20 degrees. We want all out performance for climb, and see what we can improve on the cruise speed. They shouldn't move from here. We got 20.2. Blade number 2. 20.1. And getting them within a tenth is very difficult. We don't expect to really necessarily even get them within a tenth, but within 0.3, that's where we need to be. All right, now we're at 20.0. So now we've got 2/10, and let's see what the final blade gives us. And 20.3. So there's the full spread of 0.3 of a degree. That's acceptable. That is actually close enough to be good. So finally, we have the owner. He came in late today. We did all the elbow grease while his plane was here. Got your graphics on this morning. How do you like your new end numbers?
Looks great.
Yep. Describe your startup. I think that was a big reason for you being interested in a change.
Yeah, the best thing I can describe is clunky. It would just clunk and start up, and the whole thing would vibrate, and it would just take over until it started getting up to a decent RPM. And yeah, it was definitely rough.
Rough. Okay. And then what about your cruise speed?
Cruise speed was about 90, maybe 95.
Okay.
And that was about 5,600 RPM, 58 max.
Yeah. So again, usually cruise speed is going to definitely be your maximum continuous. So maybe not even 95 miles an hour then, if we're holding it to 5,500 RPM.
Right.
Because you had it pitched for all out punch and climb. And I think there's a lot to be had on the cruise side. So you guys came up with this. My dad Phil. You guys did the test flight yesterday.
We did.
And what kind of climb rate did you guys? You timed yourself?
We climbed at VY when we got to 1,100 feet. We turned on the timer. I was flying the plane, kept it very, very steady. We were at VY, and I told him to let me know when we were at 1 minute. And in a minute, we were about 1,630 feet. So we got about 530 feet a minute.
So what we're looking for is that same test again, and then 5,500 RPM, straight and level.
Yep.
And let us know what that number is. Hopefully you're going to be in the triple-digit club.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Because these planes are capable of cruising in the triple digits, the low triple digits.
Don't forget, he's got some new end numbers on there, so that might give him a little bit of help too.
Well, the spinner's not on it, so we won't really know until.
All right.
So how do we do on the climb?
That climb, we picked up about 150 feet per minute.
Wow.
Probably, maybe more, but we'll see. Because we were indicating quite a bit more, and yesterday we weren't showing anything like that. 330 feet in 30 seconds.
Okay.
So that's 660.
660 a minute, and you were at how many feet per minute?
500.
Okay, so nice improvement on climb.
Yeah.
What does it cruise at?
Well, before we even got anywhere near cruise, the airspeed indicator started turning yellow because it was just going too fast. I said, you're going to have to change those numbers, because we were going 104 before we even tried anything, before we even, So we picked up 10 knots for sure at the same RPM that we know about, because 5,300, we were at 100. Yesterday we were at 90.
Wow, that's substantial.
And 5,000, we're at 95, and yesterday we were at 85. And then wide open, she goes a little past 55. It went even to 50, almost 58.
So did we get a number at 5,500 RPM?
The speed?
Yep.
Yes, we have it on
I
video.
got a couple pictures.
What's the number?
I think 107.
So 107
Wow.
mile an hour, 17
But
mile
hold
an
on,
hour
hold
gain.
on. We need more pitch. We didn't have full throttle at 107. We need more pitch.
So we've got a 160 foot per minute climb increase and a 17 mile an hour increase. But now
On
we're going to talk
cruise.
about what's really important.
It's smooth as a baby's.
Oh, it is really smooth.
He keeps telling me. He keeps telling me like he's trying to sell it to me or something.
Yeah, it's a major difference, but just in the vibration. There's no vibration at all. There's none at all.
It's
I
smooth
can
as
hear
a
it back
baby's
there,
ass.
but I don't feel it back there anymore.
How about the
Wow.
startup?
Start up, it just starts
Instant.
up. It does. There's no clunkety clunk. You saw it out shut down.
So
Shut down.
anybody who's got a SeaRey 914 or probably a ULS SeaRey,
I've got him a warp drive to sell.
you got to work on yourself. You excited to see the spinner cone on? Because that's going to be the icing on the cake,
Yeah.
because that spinner is going to be sexy.
All right.
Now let's do it.
Okay.
Final thoughts on your actual flight experience yesterday?
Oh, it was amazing. And the thing that I remember the most, it's, seeing the performance is great, but actually feeling the reduced vibration and just the not having that noise and bumping around in the background just gives you a little bit of sense of confidence that you've got a great running engine and things not shaking itself apart.
Very nice, very nice. Awesome. Well, you enjoy.
Yep. Thank you.
Please feel free to give us a call anytime if you have questions, would like a quote, or would like to place an order. Thanks for watching. And if your aircraft has a Rotax in it, please check out an e-prop. You can try a new e-prop for 6 months on your aircraft with no obligation. E-props has all shapes and sizes for many, many different types of aircraft.